3 decades ago, in the reign of Victoria, London was stolen by bats. Now it lies a mile below the surface. It was dreadfully inconvenient for everyone, but it opened a vast black ocean to me. Welcome to the Sea. You probably wonder who am I? I am just a natural philosopher. My peculiar theories on time, blood and starlight brought me down to the caverns where London lies. And now they take me out to sea. Me and my acquaintance, the plausible surgeon, who will serve as the ship's doctor until I find someone better. I am here to gather 1,000 tales, learn all I can of the sea, write a masterpiece, and retire. Captain! An irregularity with the Harbour Master's office. They wish to know, what term of address do you prefer ashore? Captain Sue will do perfectly well ashore as well as at sea. Thank you. Fallen London. Deep, dark, and marvelous. All voyages start here, and this is where successful voyages end. What's this? Advice for Captains, by the much lamented M. de Moore. He found his watery grave long ago, so I suppose his advice isn't that worthy. I am selling this book. It will probably be more useful in the hands of somebody less experienced. I started walking the streets in search of prospects, and I came to the conclusion that probably my best first step would be to visit the Admiralty Survey Office. The Admiralty's picket fleets and intelligence networks are long gone. The Survey Office pays Z captains a small sum for recent information. I asked them if there's anything in particular they need. Well, if we can be assured of your discretion, they informed me that they are long overdue on strategic information from the Iron and Misery Company funging station, somewhere not far from home waters. I also asked if I could speak to a higher authority, but they insisted that I should prove myself first, or at least have an appointment. Oh well, back out into the foggy street. I turned up my collar. I spotted a Blemmigan sitting atop a splintered crate, clicking and whistling at captains as they come near. I extended my hand and the Blemmigan leapt in. Its tendrils entwined with my fingers, and it chittered quietly. It met my gaze and bobbed its dome in greeting. It's very small. Is it old enough for naval service? I'm pretty sure its mustache is drawn on in pen in an attempt to look older. As I approach my ship's gangplank, the creature flutes and vibrates with apparent happiness. The bosun winces as I bring it aboard. I left it and picked up the morning papers. News. The Khanate is threatening war. They always are. London's colonies on the Cornelian coast want independence. They always do. The Sea, the papers report, has undergone another alteration. Not yet it hasn't. I'd know. Oh, a promotional coupon from Mrs. Plenty's Provisioners for a half cask of salt herring. I could use that. An immigrant approached my ship. He says he will pay me to be taken north to Vanderbilt. It's oddly difficult to die in fallen London, but when a Londoner is too tatty and wretched to live, they wrap themselves in bandages and take ship for the tomb colonies. Crew, cart these ones aboard in padded coffins. They'll sleep here until the journey is done. And another passenger at the docks wants to board my ship. History's a horse! Who'll break it with his purse? He cries to no one in particular. A drop of blood may be as precious as a ruby. Oddly enough, he is too destined to the Iron and Misery funging station, as well as the Cumaean Canal. I can do both. Welcome aboard. He puffs out his chest. I knew London had enterprising souls still left in it. I am seeking truths, Captain, which, I am told, I may find in the Iron and Misery funging station and the Cumaean Canal. Ideally, I'd learn both, but I could settle for one. For at Port Cecile, there will be a contest, and we will change the world with a game of chess. A king will fall. Sure, mate, as long as you are paying. Rise the anchor, mateys. We are sailing off. November 30th, 1887. Sailed away on my first mission. I am carrying tomb colonists, a traveler, and I have planned a trip to the Iron and Misery funging station, but mostly investigating the waters around London. That's ahead, Captain. Battle stations. Watch out! Got him! Little leathery corpses lie scattered across my deck. The rest of the swarm vanishes into the Neathy dark. Those little bones are troublesome, and the flesh a little gamey, but salt them well enough and they're quite edible. Don't be afraid, mates. They're succulent with stolen blood. Into the pot. Ha ha ha! December 1st. Creeping tendrils of fungus, seaweed, unnameable flora. We enter the snares. Here the slate black sea is like rippled glass, spiked with the lights from the roof. Pirates! Pirates! We're here! You better not miss next time, boy, or I'll miss you. Ship is yours, Captain. These pinnaces don't sail far from the hidden harbors, but here's something at the back of the hold. Ah, crates, the source of sustenance, the fundamental element of cargo. Hardtack and water, and an unexpected box of nails. A would-be wit remarks that the nails look tastier than the hardtack, until an officer's glare silences her. December 3rd. 1887. On the horizon, a sickly yellow light glimmers for a moment and then fades. Dust, echoes, even a sepia tint to the air. These are the waters around the tomb colonies. I have brought this decaying emigrant north. Now what? It is everything I imagined. But there's someone missing. Please, bring her to me. She went off to Mangrove College. She needed to get out of London. But Vanderbilt is just as safe as the college. And I wager she's part of mud by now. You know we didn't agree for this, but alright. On deck, I can hear the sound that 1,000 bandaged dead make as they shuffle and cough. It is something like the world's most restless concert audience, or the world's most plague-ridden cathedral. Along the coasts of the Untersee, it's remarkably hard to die. The decrepit and nearly dead who leave London become tomb colonists and settle here in bandaged peace. But they don't give up their ties to home or their politics. I gathered a haul of complex clues, enough to keep my contacts in London interested. Then I shifted my attention to the first curator. The captains, the first curator gives audience. The first curator is responsible for the preservation of the tomb colony. It has been here much longer than London, like all the oldest tomb colonists, but even tomb colonists dissolve in the end. Its time is close. No more light, the obsequious steward cautions me. The curator is terribly afraid of moths. He opens the door and I step into near darkness. A pair of luminous lamplighter bees buzz in a latticed ivory tube. There is no other source of light. A bandaged shape no larger than a child lies crumpled on a couch. It lifts its head with obvious effort. It takes several seconds for me to distinguish its voice from the soft buzz of the bees. Silkskin, not much left of me. I will go into the Grand Sanatorium. Bring me collars. 7 collars. Steward has a list. Find them here and there, across the wide black sea. Alright, I will search for your collars. Oh, thank you. This poor flesh, it thirsts for collars. It collapses, rustling back onto the couch. Even the effort of speaking seems to have diminished it a little. The audience is over. As the door opens, it shrinks from the finger of light that reaches across the floor. Outside, the obsequious steward nods. The book, yes, the book. He hands me a slim, illustrated volume. The curator is old as dust. We will all be grateful if you do it this one last favor. Before leaving, I gathered a couple of sailors, and we went out to explore Vanderbilt. Here, they favor candlelight over gaslight. The shadows are swagged like cobwebs. The tomb colonists stand still enough to be mistaken for sculpture until they laugh or cough maybe. One building in 3 seems abandoned. A little chapel stands alone. I poke my head through the door. The walls are a deep red, just this side of scarlet. A ruby-tinted window at the back glows with steady light. An electric lamp behind the glass? Rare and expensive. But this is no gaslight. No one is here. And yet, I have the sensation that only a moment ago, someone must have been. We search the place. There is an altar, a block of basalt. There are pews, pulpit, no Bibles, no hymn books. The stained glass window is red of cochineal. An inscription on the lintel of the door reads, "For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat." That is all. My crew is eager to leave. No one looked back. December 4th. Waves slap the side of the ship. Far below, something moves. We are in home waters. Sailors Dodo at the rail, watching for the lights of London. But I am not yet ready to go home. I still have some work to do. I decided to visit Hunter's Keep, a hump of dark rock swathed in mist, like 100 other undersea islands. But here is a grand house, windows aglow. Lawns impossibly green and lush in the false starlight. I stand on the dock as the sea nudges the ship's sides. An unexpectedly warm breeze carries the faintest trace of lavender. I took a couple of burly sailors with me, just in case, but the gardens are tranquil as moonlight. The lawns are neatly trimmed and the night flowers of the neat bloom here in profusion. I watch the hedgerows, but nothing comes to menace me. I can savor the peace. There is a pointed cough from the shadow of a potting shed. An angular woman in a maid's uniform, her eyes a peculiar sulphurous yellow, advances, frowning. She indicates the house, turns on her heel and leaves. I suppose it's time to present myself at the house. They would have heard the ship come in anyway, so why hide? A maid with smoldering topaz eyes shows me to the parlor where 3 young women wait. "A visitor!" the youngest cries. The next youngest chuckles. The elder sighs. "Do excuse the indecorum," she says. "Visitors are rare. You are very welcome. I am Cynthia. The noisy one is Phoebe. The cheerful one is Lucy. You are in good time for lunch. Will you join us?" "No, no. Thank you, ladies. I am here to make a report." Ships rarely come here. Nothing changes, even the weather. The house is the heart of the isle, the house and the sisters. But the Admiralty may be happy to know that nothing's changed, at least. My stomach is rumbling. I might make some use of their hospitality. Cynthia is the eldest. Melancholy, pensive, occasionally dramatic. She grasps my arm and whispers to me. Her eyes are wide and blue. Her hair is wild and tangled. Bats might nest in it. It seems to me that I am sitting on a hillside above a wide blue lake, listening to a story of a murder, an axe, a net, blood on scented water. "Another chop?" Cynthia asks. "You've barely touched your food. Here, I'll have the maid wrap something up for you. You can't be hungry. It's not safe to be hungry." This captain? That is a megalops. I have only heard about this. Forlorn and wailing cry, the megalops turns on its back, legs neatly folded, as bluish blood gouts from its wounds. Its golden glow begins to dim. What an excellent specimen. I will dissect it, for knowledge. We haul it aboard and set to work with our knives and acids. And it flops unexpectedly into life! Sailors rush to my aid with guns and boarding spikes. By the time they are finished, they are unharmed, but there's not much left of the beast. I tip it, reluctantly, into the sea. Maybe next time I will be luckier. Once this simple fishing village was part of the London suburbs before London fell and the waters rushed in. Smoke spirals from cottage chimneys. A lonely hill rises behind town. I chatted with some fishermen. They sail the sea around the island, they mend their nets by the harbor. They see all that happens here. Pirates plying the waves, smugglers at their work, cannate ships putting in to resupply. Nothing dramatic, but enough to interest the Admiralty. Nothing much happens here, so we went on to explore the shore. A woman in an iridescent green gown waves vaguely from a rock near the shore. Sorrowful sighs waft across the water towards me. An idiot castaway? A mermaid? Of course not. Mermaids are a preposterous myth. The poor woman won't answer my hails, but she's obviously in need of assistance. As I approached her, a fanged mouth rears from the waters, big enough to bite a boat in half or swallow a pig. The woman contorts and slides into the water. She's the tip of the monster's tail. This will be untidy, man. You see, it is always preferable to fight the serpents from inside a ship, not from inside a serpent. I commanded my men to withdraw. The beast snakes out and snaps up a single struggling sailor with terrible deliberation. The rest of us scramble inland. It submerges, eyeing me with reptilian malice. A sea serpent that masquerades as a lady. Well, it's a tale to tell. There's another megalops, Captain. Excellent. Hold tight, he's gonna hit us. It is an undistinguished adolescent specimen, a megalops of one of the deep-sea crab species, but its eyes, normally vestigial in these troglodytic beasts, are large and rather beautiful. The golden glow is almost gone now, although sparks leap now and then from my knife. Captain, we are dreadfully low on fuel. We should go home. Ahoy, Captain. Out of fuel, are we? That wasn't wise. We can help. For a reasonable price under the circumstances. Well, aren't you, John Bunch? No, thank you. We will make it. And with this, my first week out in the sea is concluded. I didn't do much of anything. I certainly hope that my next trip will be a lot more profitable and safe. Now, I have to inform the family of that sailor.